Hey guys, gals, and MBs, I'm here today with the Korg Multi, and this was the big surprise. And I didn't think I was going to get one of these. I even said in one of my videos I didn't understand it. I thought it was a dumb concept, but it sounds absolutely fantastic. The filter emulations are just excellent on this thing. The Tom Sawyer sweep that I have loaded up here is kind of what sold me on it. I heard that SEM filter, and damn did it sound good. I'll use some sharps here so we don't get a copyright strike. So yeah, there is that SEM filter. It sounds pretty good. It is fairly accurate in my opinion. I know some people may not think so, but I do. And I've had at least two synths with SEM filters. I still have one, the TO5. So yeah, this sounds great. The oscillators sound great. The filters sound great. Lots of filter emulations I love on this. The only one I don't really care about is the Mini Moog filter. I'm not the biggest ladder filter fan anymore. Yeah. It has the monopoly filter, obviously, where this is kind of a homage to, which is found, I believe, on the Poly 6 as well, but also on one of the PPG waves, which is a different manufacturer, and I love the PPG wave sound. And since we have wavetables, that is fantastic. But we have one of my other favorite filters, and that's the MS-20 low pass. Obviously, we have the SEM filter, and we also have a Prophet 5 filter in here. So yeah, really great sounding synth. The build quality over the other wave, or I should say other Korg synths in this form factor, is a little better. This is a nice thick metal front panel. It is actually pretty damn thick. I don't know how thick it is, but it feels really great. It has real wooden side things. It's not really side things, they're on the top, but these feel and look great. The key bed is the same key bed. They say it's a brand new key bed. I'm calling BS on that. I think what they did is underneath it, the domes that go over the contacts are a little firmer, so it feels semi-weighted even though it really isn't. It doesn't have aftertouch, but it does have release velocity as well as standard velocity, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, but it's really the sound, and the build quality is adequate. It's a little on the crappy side for the price point for build quality, but it's not like unheard of these days. That said, all the knobs feel great and the buttons are pretty okay. So you do have to hit the buttons dead on because they have like a dead spot if you hit them on the edges, and they all kind of react that way. So it's not just a build quality issue. It's the wave state that I had before had the same issue. The other thing is it has the same reverb section and effects suite as the wave state. So I loved the reverb on the wave state. It is my second favorite reverb in a hardware synth. My favorite reverb obviously being the Novation Summit / Peak, but yeah, it sounds really good. The only caveat to that is you really need to use the software editor to get a lot of the features of the reverb, and we'll go into that in a different video. We're just going to go over some of the things here. But yeah, really cool sounding synth. So let's kind of get into that. Let's hear the filter emulations and some of the reverb. So yeah, let's just get started with Inet Patch. So let's go here to an Inet Patch. Sounds just like your standard VA synth, but it gets a little better than that. Yeah, so I will say this is definitely becoming my favorite digital synth. Not hybrid synth, obviously that's the Peak and Summit, but also a lot of the cool things we can do here is the filter envelopes. The amp envelopes, for instance, they have emulated curves of different ones. So I can go in here and choose let's say the Prophet 5 filter curve for the amp. So let's do that. So we get a little bit of a curve there. It's not linear. And you can set that on your amp filter or pitch envelopes. So that's really cool. Or you can do a custom one where you can choose how the curves work. So that's really cool. I will say the keybed does feel better than the other ones, just not like at a brand new keybed in my opinion. It does definitely feel better than obviously Behringer keybeds, but maybe on par with the Hydrasynth's keybed. But yeah. All right, so one of the cool things we have here, besides digital wave shaping filters and things like that, the classic filters, we have one that is just it is a detuned saw, so we don't have to waste multiple oscillators on it. Also, I should say, another cool thing about this is hardware synth with 4 layers. So and full multi-temporality on that. So that's really cool. So yeah, under classic, we can choose a detune saw, and it sounds really great. So I think by default it is a little much, so let's go back there, and then we can use the morph control. And then this sets the volume of the second saw. But yeah, this is the detune. And it sounds great. And one thing we can do is we can set the modulation sources and destinations, or I should say sources, to almost any destination that is a control on here, which is really cool. So this one has an LFO already assigned to it. So if we go here to the morph, we can go here back to this, and we'll go over 1, and we'll set the LFO. So we can now So yeah, the detune is now set to an LFO, so that's really cool. And we can also just control it here. So well, that's definitely not what I wanted. All right, let's go back here. Yeah, you have to bear with me. Oh yeah, that's definitely doing it. So yeah, that's really cool that you have that much flexibility. So let's go back to here. Let's turn that down. We're just going to turn it to about here. And before we get too far into this, let me turn the LFO off of that, and let me just choose a classic saw wave, right? And if we go into a shift function here and we go into the drift menu, we have a drift function. Oh, we're in the shift. Oh, hold on. So let's do this. So by default, each patch, Inet Patch, has 3 cents of detune between each oscillator. We'll turn it way up. Zero. Back to the 3. It's nice. So you get some of that analog warmth. You also get that from the wood. All right, so let's go back into the awesome detuned saw. So let's do that. Go back here and choose, let's enter that, and then we're going to go back and make the LFO happen. Oops. All right, I mean that already sounds fantastic, and we're literally using only 1 oscillator right now. So just imagine what you can do with 4 running, and we'll have other videos in the future with that. But let's use the filter envelope and listen to that filter. Also, let's go into the amp section here. So one of the cool things with the amp section is you can choose the VCA type. Not only do the envelope curves follow different types, you can set custom envelope curves. You can also set VCA types, so this behaves like other synths VCAs. You have the Mono Poly, MS-20, Odyssey, the Mini, and the Pro. Pro is being the Prophet 5. We'll use the Prophet one. Also here we have random pan, which isn't as nice as the pan spread on the 6 series sequential synths, or the pan spread capabilities of, like, let's say the Summit or the TO5/Take 5, but it's something. So we turn on random pan, we get a stereo VCA. You can also have 2 filters set in parallel and pan them, so it's or series, well, parallel and pan them, whatever. But you can pan them, I'm just saying. Go to a lower octave here. Yeah, so that sounds really cool with the pan spread. But what we can do now, we're going to go into the filter envelope. We're going to turn this down. We're going to hear the different filters, at least the low passes. I won't go through the high pass, but let's go and use some envelope depth. All right, let's do a filter sweep, right? Let's add some more amp release here. It's just, let me turn down the envelope just a little so we can make it nice and smooth right around there. Maybe a little more. But yeah, it's just such a nice, smooth sounding VA synth. Probably the best I've ever heard in a hardware. It is the best hardware VA synth I've heard standalone. So yeah, let's go through the filter types. We're going to use some resonance too. Let's hear the resonance on the mono poly filter. We'll go to 50. A little less. Awesome, right? I like it. So let's go to the MS-20 low pass, which sounds really good with really high resonance. Turn that up to like 70%. Let's go to the mini Moog filter, and you get obvious volume drop, so the emulation's pretty good. It's with a lot of resonance. I wish there was a way to do a compensated filter with the mini Moog. And obviously back to the SEM filter, which we can just crank that resonance. It sounds great. Filter, and then let's go here. We'll go to the more. We'll choose the profit filter, which also sounds really good, but also has volume drop. Let's try without the resonance. Let's go through all the filters again without the resonance. So that's the profit filter. Then we'll go back up here. We'll go to the mono poly filter. MS-20, low pass. Mini Moog. SEM. And then in the more filters, we do have just a standard 2-pole and a 4-pole that are like specific for the synth. 4-pole, and then we also have a multi-filter, which is like their take on the SEM. Let's go back to the SEM filter and see how we get to the fully state variable on that. Obviously it has that, so to do that we can double click shift, and then the resonance knob becomes basically your band, your low pass to high pass variable. So yeah, it's all there. So make sure you're not in a shift menu. I had to retake this video because I was in a shift menu thinking something was wrong with the synth or the firmware, and it was just because I was in a shift menu. So yeah. So yeah, I love that SEM filter on this. I also love the mono. Let's go back to the mono poly filter, right? Let's turn up some resonance. And And let's go to the reverb section. So yeah, like I said, this has one of my favorite reverbs outside of the Novation Peak / Summit. And unfortunately, a lot of the settings have to be done in the editor, which we'll have other videos about that. I will do that in the future. But yeah, the oververb sounds great. And on this synth, unlike the WaveState, unless they've added in a future firmware update, I couldn't find a way to have each layer sent independently to the reverb. It was kind of just a master effect that you always had going with all of your layers, as far as I could tell, unless I was missing something or it was added in a firmware update. This lets you send each of the master effects as a send effect, so that's great. So if I only want layer 1 to have the reverb, I can do that. So to turn on an effect, you can either shift and turn it on, or you can double click it. So now. And like I said, kind of unfortunate because you have to go use presets and the editor to get into a lot of the extra functionality like the pre-delay and things like that, or even the modulation. You can set it to some of the edit knobs here by using macros, but you can't really set a lot of the advanced settings of any of the effects on the synth itself. I wish you could do that. Let's go to Dreamy Reverb. That one's nice. No real modulation on this, unfortunately. The reverb, like I said, has the capability of doing modulation. It's just not in on this specific preset. So let's turn the size up. Let's turn the timbre down a little so it's not so bright. Let's turn down the send level a little. I think it sounds really good. But yeah, lots of good sounding oscillators too on this. They don't get very aliased, at least as far as I can tell. Somebody's going to tell me otherwise, but you know, I don't care about them. So let's turn the LFO off here on the main oscillator, and let's go through some of the wave shapes really quick now that we have a really nice sounding. Turn down the reverb just a little. But yeah, let's go through these. So we have saw. I love the pulse. It sounds really good. The triangle sounds absolutely gorgeous on this. Let's turn up the envelope all the way. Saw pulse combo sounds nice. Saw triangle combo. Pulse triangle, square triangle, double saw. Also a really nice one. And then obviously our detuned saws. Shark fin. Then we have digital ones. We have a bunch of wavetables. Not going to go through them all. Just use this choir one. But yeah, you can go through the position of the wavetable, obviously. You can morph it. And then we have a wave shaper, which is really cool. I like how that sounds a lot. Let's go in and change our filter envelope just so we get a nice plug. Let's turn off the reverb really quick. Now we're just using pan spread. I like it. Let's turn on some delay. Should we turn on? Delay is the same thing as the reverb. Unfortunately, a lot of the cool settings are behind the editor. Editor's free. You just have to use it and download it and install it. Works on Mac OS and Windows. And If this is anything like the wave state, the editor was an absolute pain in the ass to use on a Windows system, but it worked fine on a Mac. But I hope since they've updated it, but yeah. You get some macros in here though, like you get, for instance, sometime feedback and timbre, which you have a lot more settings, obviously, in the editor. Got all of that. That's such a nice sounding synth. Let's go to the yeah, so I love it. Sounds really good. Yeah, so now you can tell why I ended up picking this thing up. It just sounds great. Let's go through some of the things I really like preset wise, because I'm not going to go too much into detail on more things on this. We'll have other videos. So let's go into the pad section. I do love how these buttons change to this amber color when you're in the specifically in the category view. So I just like that amber color. I wish there was something, I don't know if I've checked. I don't know if there is options, but it would be cool if you could set the color scheme like in the editor or something, but I don't think there is. So yeah, let's. Birth of Ambient is a really nice one. Boundary pad is nice. It's a very great synth for pads and it's a great synth for anything, but it's definitely for pads and like nice analog style plucks. Cinematic pad is just gorgeous. Hold on. Yeah, actually coming to play it a little more. This key bed isn't too bad with the tweaks on the feeling of it. Constellations is great. Uses the ARP. So yeah, Dawn pad. But yeah, it is gorgeous. Let me think. What else was really nice? Yeah, lots of nice pads. This seems like it uses a split out. It does. Since it's multi-timbral, you can do splits and things, and you can have different MIDI channels do different layers. That's pretty cool. Let's go into the plucks. There's some cool plucks. Celtic harp. And as far as I know, you can load your own wavetables on here. The only thing I don't like, this doesn't have sample playback. Maybe in a firmware update, hopefully they'll do that, but that might cannibalize the wave state sales. So they're artificially limiting that, I would assume. But yeah. There was one keys that I really liked. I'm trying to remember which one it is. That one's nice. Glass Dreamer is nice. This one's nice. some really nice winds in here. The well, not really, but you can make them. I should say you can make nice ones in here. There's only one that really displays. And this has an ensemble, and you use the mod wheel to bring it up. But I was gonna say that flute sounds really nice for an analog flute. I guess it is using the digital portion. Well, whatever. It sounds great. Let's go back here. There's some nice. The airdrops is nice. We already did Dawnpad. Coralish is nice. Choirscape. I love it. So yeah. Yeah, and it also has a portamento that can be modeled after different synths, so that's really cool. Yeah. And then let's see, there's some strings that sound nice. VHS strings. Yeah, so really beautiful sounding synth. I'm actually shocked on how good this thing sounds. It is a little on the pricier side for what I guess you're getting a lot for it. I just wish the build quality was slightly better for that. You do get a carrying bag with it, which is really nice, but it is the standard Korg digital synth like ethos behind it. So it has a Raspberry Pi compute module and everything. But I will say that all the knobs feel really nice, and the buttons, other than having to press them dead on for them to register without a problem, they all have that kind of problem. The Wave State had the same thing when I had a Wave State. But yeah, they feel nice enough. It just feels really nice for what it is. That said, I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of people are going to say it's a VST in a box, and you're right. It is a digital synth in a box kind of layout, like soft synth in a box. But it does feel nice. It sounds good. It's portable. It's fairly lightweight, though it is a lot heavier than the other synths in this form factor because of this aluminum top panel and I think the wood sides. But yeah. That said, it's super powerful. It has a lot of stereo functionality, like you can pan filters and things like that. Only scratched the surface. I wanted to go over what I thought sounded nice on it. I wanted to go over the filtering sections, which sound absolutely fantastic, and is the reason to get this. Yeah, so. And you can do a lot with it. Albeit you do need the editor to get to a lot of the effects sections. But yeah, that said, I'll do other videos with this. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. And if you do like my channel and you haven't subscribed to me already, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.